Hello, my friends. We got some stuff to talk about, don't we? You know, it is springtime. Oh, sorry. I'm also, as you saw, walking the dog, who is a crazy walker. But it's that time of year that everybody wants to be in a relationship. I've seen it on my Twitter feed. I've seen it in my real life. And, you know, I really wish everybody who wanted a relationship had one. Sorry, my camera's doing its own thing. Come here. I was walking, talked to a neighbor, and I was gonna go somewhere else, but this place here is really beautiful. You know, if you're not willing to do there's headphones on a tree here. If you're not willing to do the inner work that's required of yourself to have a relationship, then you're probably not gonna be able to work on anything while you're in the relationship. Ooh, you know? And take it from me, I have been in the relationship that I manifested, and I do have many videos of up. Okay, Lizzie, just chill here. You're in a beautiful spot. It takes work. It takes work. And if you're somebody that just thinks that, you know, this relationship, you just need to go outside and you'll find this person, it's just not true. It's just not like that. And it takes work. And if you think, oh, Lizzie, this is too pokey. This is too pokey. Here, Lizzie, get up. Come here. You can roll around up here. Come here. She's so crazy. It's actually like kind of busy out right now because of the time that I'm out walking. But yeah, I've seen a lot of discourse of like, why don't I have this relationship? I'm going out all the time and I'm making sure people know I'm available and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, that's all well and good, but that's literally the last thing that you need to do. Like that's the final step before you get the relationship, is being out there. There's many steps before that. I have detailed them, I would say, pretty well in my other videos, but essentially it's that you need to, okay, Lizzie, you need to go back around. Look at her. Yeah, go back around the tree. Okay, no, I will just go around. I would say it's hard to say what step one is, but if you've never been in a relationship, then usually step one is getting into a relationship. And that probably is not, I mean, it might be, but it probably isn't your final relationship. I'll tell you that right now, because I have always wanted a relationship. For as long as I can remember, I've always wanted that partnership. So that was just like the main thing that I always was trying to go after. And then I got suckered into the wrong relationship. Now, you know, I call it suckered, but I was living literally on the beach in Greece. So, you know, it could have been worse. But it was not an ideal situation. He was too old for me, and I just jumped into it because I thought that, you know, this was it. You know, I found him, right? But being the age that I was, 21, Lizzie, what are you eating? And the age that he was, 38, you know, wasn't ideal. And, you know, I'm not saying age gaps are bad or anything, but I didn't have a frontal lobe, okay? And you kind of need a frontal lobe, to be honest, to be grounded and, you know, in a relationship that works and that's long lasting. You know, obviously there's always exceptions, but this is for you if you think that you know, you're too old to find the right person. Like, you're definitely not. Oh God, Lizzie. So I speak from experience. It was literally my first step was thinking that I met the man of my dreams. Oh my God, Lizzie. And it was, I was in my dream location and I was desperate for a relationship. And I think that's what most people don't want to hear, is that if you're really, really, really wanting a relationship, you're probably going to get suckered into the wrong one. And, that's exactly what happened to me. But that is a huge, important part of the journey, is getting into that relationship and then getting out. And getting out, you grow some fucking balls and you get out and you realize, this is not what I want. This is not who I want. This is not who I want to be. It's not who I want to be with. And you realize that you deserve so much better and that you're not just done, I think that's what most people want, is they just want to achieve it, right? Achieve the relationship, be done, have that person that they can always rely on, and then they get into a relationship that's not necessarily good for them. I speak from experience. And then, the next step, obviously, is getting out of the relationship and healing, okay? If, maybe you've had several relationships and you're like, oh, I still can't find the one, but you've never taken inventory of how you were treated in that relationship, what you accepted, and, what you want instead, then, that's what you have to do. Holy cow. Lizzie, I'm gonna have to pick you up by this frickin' lanyard. Okay, I will also say, it's not my dog. It's my parents' dog, which is why she's not very well trained. God love her, but she can't walk. So, also speaking to my own experience, I got out of this relationship. I literally escaped the relationship in a very dramatic way, which if you're interested in knowing that story, let me know. Because it was, whenever I tell people the story, they're like, oh my God, like that should be a movie. And I'm like, it probably would be actually very entertaining. But then I spent the year after that healing and doing chakra work, getting into Reiki, doing energy healing, purging things from my field, doing, childhood trauma healing and all these sorts of things, like real work, internal work for sure, but real work, and this is what I find that most people want to skip. And sure, you can, I've got some light here. You can go ahead and skip it, but then you're just going to keep attracting the same person that is not good for you and that doesn't make you feel like you're secure and safe in the relationship and that it's worthwhile or that you're worthwhile. Those are all things that you deserve to feel. But if you don't clear, crazy dog, if you don't clear the path to get there, then you're just going to keep attracting the same people and the same lessons until you learn them. And you don't want to bring that into your relationship. Trust me you don't, because that's why you don't have the relationship now, is because you haven't either learned, absorbed, or done any of the work, and I'm sorry to be the one to say it, because I know it's not all, it's not super nice, but it's what you need to hear if you want your forever relationship. If you don't want your forever relationship, you just want flings, then, click out of this video. It's not for you. But if you're looking for that partnership, that ideal match for you, Lizzie, come here. You want to be able to be in a situation, in this relationship where, yeah, you're going to get triggered. You're going to have things that come up of your insecurities and, things like that. But because you've done the inner work, I'm not saying anybody's healed 100% at any moment, but because you've done the inner work before, you know how to do it again. And this trigger that comes up for you is not going to end your relationship. It's going to be, something that you work on either by yourself or together, but you know how to do it now. It's not going to be the breakup or the toxic fights every week or, that kind of stuff, because that's not what a real relationship is. You should not be fighting every single week and have these huge blowouts or, feeling so insecure or whatever. Like, you want to have a really balanced relationship where you can rely on this person, right? Oh my God, she's like climbing a tree. And if you also aren't that, then you're going to attract somebody that is not that. Which is why the most important work you can do is on yourself and your own field. And God, I can tell you right now, I didn't want to hear that either when I was trying to manifest a relationship and was working on, bringing that in my life when I was in my teens and my early 20s. I didn't want to hear that, there is more work that I have to do, right? I just wanted to hear that, I can imagine this person in my life and they'll come in my life, right? And that's how I walked into the wrong relationship. That's how I walked into the wrong relationship. But it taught me so much. It taught me everything that I needed to know and gave me the realization that I literally spent exactly a year. Obviously I was living and doing real life things, but I spent exactly a year going off and on to Reiki, doing energy healing on myself, doing meditations, doing all of this inner work, running, doing, taking care of my body, taking care of my soul from the inside out. Connecting with the people that I loved and connecting with them deeply, because I know that I wanted more love in my life. So why don't I just expand the love that's already in my life, right? And it was exactly a year after I broke up, escaped my first relationship that I, in the most magical way, met my current relationship, my fiance, who we've been together for more than 6 years now. So those are my credentials that I'm in a loving relationship that I manifested. And you know what? I should bring him in the next video. It's just right now he's off for business. Ooh, and isn't home right now. Otherwise, I probably would. But if you guys have any questions, like for my mans, let me know and I can work on that. We can record something together because I think that would be cool. Because he has his own side of the story, and his side of the story is pretty parallel to mine, that, he'd been in more relationships than me, but kind of, had his own share of toxic relationships and basically gave up everything. He was like, I'll be single for life. I'm just going to work on myself. And I magnetized him to me. I kid you not. Like, something possessed him to come where I was on the evening that we met. I'm not even joking. He says that too. And it wasn't even, I didn't even see it. It was my friend that saw him and pulled him over to talk to me. I did nothing. I literally did nothing. So that's what I mean when I say that when you do the inner work and you work on your own magnetism and you get your own bullshit out of the way. I'm not saying it's ever going to be 100% out of the way, but, for example, a big part of the stuff that I've always worked on is self-image issues and eating disorder, and thinking that I had to be super skinny in order to be loved. Oh, sorry, Lizzie, the leash got you. And and my ex kind of encouraged that, and would say that I'm getting too chubby or whatever, and he just he didn't help with that. And so I'm like, that's another thing, because I just walked into a relationship with somebody who wanted me for my image. And as soon as my image changed slightly, then it was like, did he still want me? And so part of that year too was working on how I felt about my body, how I can be comfortable in my body exactly as it is, how I can take care of myself regardless. And so now in my current relationship, like, yeah, it comes up sometimes because it's just the bullshit that I deal with, my own bullshit. And but it comes up in a way that is like more peaceful, and I know what to do and I know how to handle it. And if I tell my fiance that, like, I'm feeling like I shouldn't eat because, I need to be skinny because that's the only thing I can control right now. He's like, well, like, that's not how it works. and, and he'll encourage me to sit down and, sit down and go for a walk, but go for a walk and then sit down and find a treat. Or, he'll tell me, things that are helpful and not, further push me to the edge. Because that's what a real relationship is a partnership. You're both working on things all the time. But if for example, I hadn't worked on that and I hadn't worked on healing that, then I probably would have attracted another guy who exacerbated that in me. And it's things like that where you want to be able to already have the tools so that, you don't break up because you can't handle it, or you can't figure out what to do, or you can't work on things together. And, you have, by working on yourself, you find that you have a lot more grace for yourself than you thought you did. And that extends to your partner. Say if you've never done any inner work and you're, Lizzie, hey, just eating random shit. Okay. You've never done any work on yourself and you're just, you have maybe perfection problems and you think that everything needs to be perfect all the time and you expect that in your partner as well, then sorry, but you're going to fight about that. It's going to bring up shit in both of you. And, your partner might get fed up and leave you because you're always on their case about, doing this, that, or the other thing, right? So it really is, your relationship is essentially a reflection of how you feel about yourself, because that's who you attract. So if you're feeling confident and you're, feeling like you know how to do the work on yourself, I'm not saying it's ever complete, of course not, but you have to be willing to, because the relationship that you want is going to take work as well. It really is. And it's, and this is from a tweet that I saw where it was like, this poor girl, and, I really feel for her because I've been there too. It's the, for me, for sure, I don't want to say that it's for her, but for me, it was a desperation of like, what else can I do? I've done everything. I'm out doing these things in these circles and blah, blah, blah. And it's really, it's honestly, it's typically the moment you stop looking is when you find the person. But it comes from doing all of these things beforehand that don't really show you any physical feedback other than in how you carry yourself, in how you act, in how it's in how other people see you too. It's shifting your aura, it's cleansing your energetic field, and I'm saying that you need to have that confidence and that magnetism. But those things, if you don't have them right now, then they're probably held back by certain things in your energy field that has to be moved and cleared and paid attention to. And that's why I did so much Reiki. I received so much Reiki after I went through my, first relationship. And I was just like, why did I get into this? What's coming up here? And it came up all these, childhood things that I just had never really addressed or worked on. And I started to do that because, if I didn't do that before I got into my relationship now, who knows if we'd still be together? I'd like to think that we would, but it's kind of a level of respecting yourself enough and caring about yourself enough that, and even if maybe you need to shift and think about this for your partner, you're caring about this, this marriage that you want or this partnership that you want enough to do this work now. Because if you don't want to do the work now, if you don't want to clear your energy field of beliefs of, thinking that you're not worth it or that this person isn't out there, etc., then, why would your partner think that you're worth it? It all starts with you. And I know that like people just want this magical formula to bring, their hot dreamy guy into their life, and they're trying to, get freaking Liam Hemsworth and just have all their dreams come true. But one, I think sometimes people are too specific with what they want because physically, because you can just affirm, and I have this in my other videos, you can just do affirmations that are like, my partner and I are so attracted to each other, right? And then it opens up a whole other realm of possibility of who this person could be and where they could be from, and right. But it's doing this work that I know nobody wants to hear. I didn't want to hear it, but it's I didn't do the work, and I just thought I could manifest. Oh, Lizzie, stop! What are you eating now? What are you eating now? Okay, no, you're not eating more of that. Where I thought, the first guy that paid attention to me, this was the one, this is the relationship that I've been manifesting. I haven't done any other work, but this is it. And then, I spent 8 months in Greece on the beach, which was lovely, but the relationship was not so lovely, and I had to get out of it. And then that's what really forced me to do the inner work. Lizzie, excuse me. Get out of there. Oh, she just ripped all the leaves with her leash off of this plant. Because then, after that, after you've done the energetic cleansing that you need to do and reprogramming of your own beliefs that are holding you back, because if you don't have the relationship that you want, then you still have that work to do. Sorry. Then you reprogram and program your reality to bring this person in. And it doesn't happen in a way that you expect, so you have to stop planning for it. You cannot plan for it, but you can be ready, you can prepare. All of this is preparation, so that when you have this person, your relationship works. You can hold on to this relationship. It's your forever relationship, right? And you want to be able to hold on to it. Because then, after that, you can start doing the little manifestation techniques of, writing a list or bringing the frequency of, having a partner in your life. All of these things that if you're interested in what I'm saying, but like you want specific help, then reach out to me and we can do a coaching session, because it really is specific per person, obviously. But at the same time, it's pretty general. It's these general steps of cleansing your energy field, moving through any, limiting beliefs that you may have, which is probably just based from your childhood, and, getting that out of like, so why, and for me, when I came from a toxic relationship, it's like, why did I let myself get into that in the first place? Well, then you unpack that. And so, it's a lot of unpacking, because then at that point you can then do the magical stuff that you want to do, which, I know the shadow work part of it doesn't feel good, but it's there. It's in the way. You have to lighten it. You have to lighten the load, and you have to move it through your field so that it's not in the way anymore, because that's what's blocking you. And then you can do the fun stuff, and then the person comes into your life. And that's just that. My credentials are been there, done that. Am in it. Am in the wonderful relationship. So yeah, if you have any questions, especially for my fiance from a man's perspective, let me know, and I can queue that up. And if you have any more specific questions that you want me to address in a video, let me know. If you want to talk to me one-on-one, send me an email to my Mariah one. I'll include that below too. Because, there's some point where you just, you need a little more personalized techniques with what's going on. But I really do believe that everybody who, oh my God, stuck in my lips. Everybody who actually desires a relationship, and really, really wants it, can have it and should have it. And you will have it. It's just moving through what's going on right now, moving through the reason why you don't have it right now. because there are reasons. And you can work on those reasons. You shouldn't have to get into a toxic relationship to find out what those reasons are, like I did. And you don't necessarily need to do a year of Reiki either. But yeah, there's just things that you have to do, and there's things that you can do. And trust me, it is so worth it to not bring this baggage into every relationship that you have. Trust me. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Chat soon.